One of our favorite guests, because he always tells us things. He makes us smarter. He's Daniel Jeremiah, NFL Network analyst. You can follow him on Twitter at Move the Sticks, also host of the Move the Sticks podcast. He'll be on the main set with the big boys tonight in Cleveland for the first round tonight starting at 8 Eastern. Let's start with the poll question here. Give me the headline tomorrow that we'll be talking about. What the Niners did, what the Falcons did, where Justin Fields goes, what the Patriots did, or a big trade. Where are you going to go?
I'll say, Dan, I'm going to say it's obviously going to be quarterback related. I'll say it ends up being a trade, not for one of those first guys. I think we could get a little bit of a surprise with 3 because I still don't. I'm still not convinced it's Mac Jones. Everything I hear says Mac Jones. Everything in my gut says Trey Lance. So I don't think that's decided yet. But I think what could end up being the big storyline is whichever one of those 5th quarterbacks starts to drop a little bit, who's going to be the team that goes to get him?
What team do you think would be most in play to go after if it's Trey Lance who falls or Justin Fields?
To me, I know everybody's looking at New England. I think that's a possibility. I still think Washington not having their long-term guy. They've got 50 right now, but trying to find that next guy to be the long-term guy, that to me is just a logical one that you could see them be aggressive. Chicago, there's the need, but man, they got to win right now. They're in survival mode. So I don't know necessarily that points to them, making that type of a jump. And to be honest with you, if I'm the president of the Bears, the owner of the Bears, I'm not so sure I want a regime that's on a little shaky ground, parting with a bunch of future picks for the next guys I might have to bring in. So that, to me, I don't think it points to the Bears.
I don't see New England moving up. A source said to me this morning, they're not moving up to 4, but
no.
If something starts to creep down a little bit, then, Belichick might pounce on that a little bit. Do you rule out the Steelers being involved in any of this, given, Ben's sort of fragility here?
Yeah, I wouldn't, and I wouldn't rule out the Saints either. I know they've got a couple in-house options there that they're looking at, but to me, if Trey Lance were to drift a little bit, I could see Sean Payton saying, "Let's do it, man. Let's get bold and aggressive and go up there and go get him." So, there's kind of like those different layers of teams. There's the teams, 15 to 20, and then you get to the teams kind of towards the back end. It's a long way to travel. It's going to be very expensive for those teams, but the good news is, you're picking at the bottom of the first round. You're Mike Tomlin. You're Sean Payton. You're not going anywhere. You've got time to let this thing grow and develop here. So that could lead to a bold move.
What will happen? What should happen at 3? Let's start there.
I think they should take Trey Lance. I've been saying that for a long time. I think it allows them to play 11 on 11 with incorporating him in the run game. I think Kyle, with his creativity, I would think that would tap into that. I think that, and look, Mac Jones is a good player. I always, feel like you're trying to take down Mac Jones. He's a good player, but I like Trey Lance's chances of narrowing that accuracy gap with Mac Jones a lot more than Mac Jones' chances of narrowing the athleticism gap with Trey Lance. So I think Trey's going to get there. He's got some mechanical things he needs to clean up. I know he hasn't made a lot of starts, Dan. I know the lower level. I know all the knocks. I've spent time with this kid. I've been around him. I've talked to all the teams that have interviewed him. He's brilliant. He's not like, he's football smart. He's smart. And so to me, when you have all those traits and you're highly intelligent, that reminds me of Josh Allen. That reminds me of Patrick Mahomes. They didn't have it figured out when they walked into the NFL, but they had all the ability and they were incredibly intelligent.
Okay, but you used to be an NFL scout for a couple of teams.
Yeah.
Let's say you're with the Niners and you're talking to Kyle Shanahan. Now he's making the choice. How do you convince the boss that he's wrong?
I think you do it in a creative fashion. You want to role play it here for a second, Dan?
Okay. All right. Hey,
Kyle.
What's up? What's up, Dan? What do you got? Last call here.
I was just thinking about, the best advantage we have in our organization, Kyle. It's your brain. God, you're so smart and so creative. If only there was a quarterback out there that would allow you to explore some new areas in your offense, to give us a schematic advantage and match that with the physical skill set. Man, I'm trying to rack my brain to see if I could find somebody that might just be big and strong and, could really grow and develop. And you could take this offense, which is already really good, to a whole new place. That would be wow, Kyle. If you could think of anybody like that, I'm at a loss. I couldn't come up with anybody.
Yeah, but look, I'm looking at Mac because Mac is accurate. He throws people open. He's going to follow my game plan. I don't have to worry about him sort of stretching things. He has more athleticism than people give him credit for. What are the two things I want in a quarterback, Daniel? I want accuracy, and I want somebody who's really sharp, who's going to, in real time, process the information.
No, Kyle, I hear you on that, and that's the way it's been. And I just would let's flash back a little bit to 2 times you were standing on the sidelines in the Super Bowl. There was one play you had to lead, and your quarterback had a free rusher come at him, and he couldn't get away from him. He took a sack. You end up out of field goal range. You end up losing a Super Bowl. And then there was this other Super Bowl where this other quarterback scrambled around for about 10 seconds and made some unbelievable throw. And man, that's you've got 5 fingers. 2 of them would have rings on them right now. If you had a guy that could move around and do those types of things. So let's go try and find that guy.
Daniel, it's a little too soon to bring up the 2 Super Bowls that I lost here. Thanks for your input, and good luck with your new team or when you go to the NFL Network.
We started off well.
It did. Yes, it did. Kyle Pitts feels like he's being set up for failure here. Like, I know he's got all this talent, but I don't know if he's the next Vernon Davis or not. But like, we look at him and we go, oh my God, like he can't miss. But guys miss, Daniel.
Yeah, I hear you, Dan. But there's some guys where you just kind of get that feeling. And when Quinton Nelson was coming out, it was like I said it at the time. He's the best. He's the best blocker, like the best run blocker that I've ever evaluated. I'd never seen anybody do what he did in the run game. Just dominated people. I know it wasn't a sexy position, but it was like, okay, if we're going to say likely Hall of Famers, he would be the one you would pin it to, because you just don't see it. I mean, you watch hundreds of players every year, Dan, and then every now and then there's one guy that just looks different.
Well, and my source said, Daniel, going into the draft, he goes, nobody's going to care about this. Quinton Nelson is the best player in this draft.
Yeah.
And he goes, but nobody cares about an offensive lineman, but you'll be talking about him as a Hall of Famer. And I remember mentioning it on the air, like nobody cares about Quinton Nelson except for the quarterback who has Quinton Nelson blocking for him.
Yeah, I almost want to even say from a TV standpoint, the pick is in. It's Quinton Nelson. Go to break.
Yeah, that's a buzzkill. Okay, what should the Falcons do it for?
We'll see what happens with the quarterbacks. I would take a quarterback. To me, I think if you feel like you can chase a championship for what's left of Matt Ryan's career, then take the tight end.
But what if Trey Lance is not there, Daniel? What if the Niners take Trey Lance?
I would prefer Trey over Fields. I would still take Justin Fields if I were the Falcons.
And tell this audience, being a scout, like, what are we missing on Justin Fields? Because if we look at everything, factor in everything, there's something missing here.
Yeah, he's incredibly talented, Dan. And I have 4 quarterbacks in my top 8 players in the draft. So to me, I think sometimes I keep getting this question, what's wrong with Justin Fields? And I'm like, it's actually more kind of what's right with some of these other guys too. It's not what's wrong with Justin Fields. Justin Fields is very gifted. The difference to me, like, Trey Lance and Justin Fields is they're touching each other on my sequence list. They're right next to each other. I gave Trey Lance the nod because I thought he was a better decision maker. I thought he played with more urgency, and that's urgency in everything, in terms of just boom, 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 getting through your reads, in terms of making a decision, getting rid of the football, not taking sacks. Just that was the little difference there between those 2 guys. I think Justin Fields got a chance to be a Pro Bowl quarterback. So if I'm the Atlanta Falcons and I've got a quarterback going into his age 36 season, I don't think we're close to a championship. To me, it feels more like a teardown than a final missing piece to go get a Super Bowl.
But it feels like you're in love with Trey Lance. If you worked for the Jets, would you take Trey Lance?
That would be a really tough call. I ended up with Zach over Trey. Because of I thought he was just more consistent as a thrower. And you get some wow with Zach Wilson as well. You get a little bit of sizzle with some of the stuff that he can do. But from the outside, not having a chance to visit with Zach, like, I've met with Trey. I wish I would have had a chance to spend a lot of time around Zach. When you're with a team, I think that can be kind of the deciding factor in this. It's kind of how they come through. that process. So I ended up with Zach, but man, it would if you're running a team, that would be the choice for me, those two guys.
Wow, that's interesting. I like that Jerry Jones said, "Hey, I'm not infatuated with Kyle Pitts." While being infatuated with Kyle Pitts, could Dallas do something? Not crazy, but well, maybe it is because that team needs help on defense. But could you see Jerry Jones doing something a little goofy tonight?
I'm anxious to see if he gets spooked a little bit by the fact that the Eagles and the Giants are right behind him. And you've got the Eagles at 12 who do need a corner. The Cowboys, the need that jumps at you is the corner. You need an edge rusher, but I don't think there's one really to take there. So you're both chasing the same player. I would love to be, if Denver's not taking a quarterback, I had them taking Justin Fields. I had them just moving up to 7 and taking Fields. But if they are happy at quarterback and they want to roll with what they've got, oh my gosh, how fun would that be to play the Eagles and the Cowboys against each other, knowing they more than likely want the same player, to see if you can get a little extra for one of those teams to come up.
So you're talking about going after a defensive back?
I think it would be Surtain, would be my guess. My guess is that's probably the target for the Cowboys and the Eagles.
Would you trade for Jimmy Garoppolo?
Depending on where you are in the Patriots, to me, and I don't know what they're going to do. I guess there's some reports out there saying they might do it.
Nobody knows what the Patriots are going to do.
That's a great point. That one, not knowing the inner dynamics of how his relationship was with Josh McDaniels and the crew there, the way Jimmy Garoppolo plays, provided he could, stay healthy, which he hasn't been able to do, it matches the way the Patriots are built. I mean, they're offensive line driven, they're run game driven, their defense, special teams, protect the football. Like, it's kind of how Jimmy plays. So it makes sense from the outside, but again, I don't know how he's viewed in the building.
Yeah, I just wonder what he's worth. I know they said they want a first-round pick.
No chance.
You're not getting a first-round pick.
No chance.
Yeah.
I think you're looking. I'd be happy if you got a third-round pick.
Yeah.
It's the availability. How do you give up a high pick if you can't stay healthy?
Yeah. Yeah, there's some fascinating, plot twists that could happen because all it takes is, like, you go back to Mitchell Trubisky. Nobody saw that.
No.
I think you had him going to Cleveland.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
there's no way. And that's why I love tonight, man. It's fun. And I'm part of me was frustrated because God, I want to know what San Francisco is going to do. And then I'm like, you know what? It's more fun sitting up there on the desk when they're on the clock and you don't know what they're going to do.
Yes.
So I hope it remains a mystery when we get up to the start of the night.
Well, I want you to react the way we react because then I've been involved in an NBA draft before and they said, do you want to know the pick when it's in? And I said, no. All I want to know is right before the commissioner comes out, just tell me who it is so I get my information. That was it. Yeah. But I wanted to react in real time. And there are times when I'm watching the draft where I get the feeling that the host might know what the pick is before the pick is, because then you'll go, I'm thinking maybe wide receiver or running back, and the pick is in, and they take a wide receiver. And then you're going, okay.
The best, and we have a great group, and so I just remember watching this as a kid. So this is not with NFL Network; this is elsewhere. But it was they're on the clock for 10 minutes. They need a receiver. It's a receiver. Here's this receiver versus that receiver, and then. Oh, the pick is in. Would not be surprised this is an offensive line. Let's go to the podium and see what they do.
That's where somebody's in your ear going, it's offensive lineman. Have fun tonight, and I'll probably text you during the show.
All right, Dan, see my shirt here real quick?
El Nino.
I mean,
okay.
Fernando Tatis fun to watch.
Okay, so you're on the bandwagon here.
Oh, Dan, I go back to watching Kilvio Veras, buddy. There's no bandwagon. I've been riding this thing for a long time.
Well, I go back to Mike Ivey.
Oh, nice. How about Dave Dravecki?
Poor Dave Dravecki.
I know.
Broke his arm. Yeah. Who else? Freddie Norman. Like, I go back to the early 70s of the Padres when they had those ugly uniforms. It looked like a bad diaper that you changed.
Call me, Dan, when you go to an opening day when there's Lynn, Wynn, and Gwynn in the outfield for the Padres.
Thank you, bud.
See you, buddy.
That's Daniel Jeremiah. He'll be on the set tonight with Rich Eisen, Kurt Warner, Michael Irvin probably, Charles Davis. They got Melissa Stark will be doing the interviews. They got a cast of thousands. Fred Kendall, another San Diego Padre.